It's Wednesday, which means it's time for a first look, which is our unboxing series, if you like. And today we're going to be looking at Hop Protocol, the Hop Exchange, which is a really wild one. It's a way of bridging tokens across rollups really fast. But first, a word from our sponsor. And of course, it's not one sponsor, it's many sponsors, and we start with Balancer. Now, in version 2 of Balancer, it is becoming the one-stop shop for DeFi liquidity. Balancer version 2 brings stable pools and weighted pools tightly integrated under a single protocol, flash loans, lending via asset managers, and much more. Check it out at balancer.finance. Solana has built a fast, censorship-resistant blockchain where you can build and use crypto apps that scale today. The network supports thousands of transactions per second, with fees less than a cent and over 500 validators. To learn more, head on over to solana.com/Defiant to get started building and join its rapidly expanding community. Now, a new sponsor. DeFi users, you no longer need to pay expensive and unpredictable internet rates on your ETH loans. Liquidity, a decentralized borrowing protocol that we have covered on this channel, allows you to borrow against your ETH interest-free. Loans are paid out in LUSD, a USD-pegged stablecoin, and need to maintain a minimum collateral ratio as low as 110%. So to learn more, head on over to liquidity.org/Defiant to get started and get the most out of your borrowing needs today. Now, this channel couldn't exist without the sponsor, so big thank you to them, and let's get on with First Look. So we've been covering layer 2s a lot recently, in particular Polygon, and one of the complaints we've heard about Polygon is that it's great being there. It's actually pretty straightforward to go over the bridge to Polygon, but coming back is a pain in the Polygonies. And I came across a tweet from Hop Protocol that someone forwarded on to me. And in it, it seemed to suggest that you could send USDC from Polygon to Ethereum in about 90 seconds, which is fast, like really fast. Now, the source of this was, of course, Hop Protocol. And what it seemed to show, we can have a look at the video, is an amount of USDC being sent from Polygon to Ethereum. And of course, the cynics among us would just say, well, that's testnet, and that's great. Testnets are fast. Everything is great on testnet. But actually, it wasn't. This is mainnet. Now, if we go to hop.exchange, here's the interface. Looks a lot like Uniswap. It's very simple exchange interface. But if we look up here, we can see this is actually Kovan. This is running on the testnet. But when we look on the networks that we can select, there's Kovan, Optimism, XDAI, Kovan, Optimism, XDAI, no Polygon. And that is because this is in fact the testnet implementation of Hop, and Hop isn't ready for mainnet deployment yet, but it will be very soon. And it looks like we'll be able to send stablecoins at the moment. I haven't actually tried this out because I didn't see the point. I want to try this when it's on mainnet. And this is a first look. So we're just taking a quick glance at this thing. But what exactly is going on here? And how are they able to move tokens from Polygon to Ethereum so fast? Because this is, make no mistake, this is a genuine mainnet deployment. So the first place I went to look was their white paper, which they published back in January. Seems an age ago. The author of the paper is Chris Winfrey. And in the abstract, he describes Hop, a protocol for sending tokens across rollups and their shared layer 1 network in a quick and trustless manner. Rollups have the potential to scale the Ethereum network, but each rollup creates a siloed environment for its applications. Now, moving assets between rollups and the layer 1 network is slow and expensive, diminishing the savings users gain by using the rollup. The Hop protocol allows assets to be moved directly from rollup to rollup, providing cost savings and enabling cross-rollup composability of applications. Now, back in January, we weren't really talking about rollups, not a huge amount, but now we really are. And we're talking about specifically these different layer 2 implementations. We know that once you're on layer 2, it's great. Getting over there, not so great. That's always the painful bit. What Hop seems to be doing is taking that single pain point and just making it a lot less painful. And what we're starting to see now is these hops from roll-up to roll-up without having to go via the main chain. This is getting wild. So in that original tweet, they say ETH DeFi will become multi-chain DeFi soon. And it is getting to the point where we need to find a different word to chain, whether we call it a network, whether we call it an environment, whether we call it a territory. I don't know. But we are starting to see this incredible piping being built to allow us to flow liquidity value from one place to another place to another place, wherever it is most optimal for us to do our business. That is going to make things really exciting. And it's protocols like HOP that make that less and less painful. So if we look back at the white paper again, we can go down to the solution that they have come up with. And it's actually very elegant and very, very simple. So if we look here in section 2, it says the HOP protocol provides a scalable rollup to rollup general token bridge using a two-pronged approach. Firstly, create a cross-network bridge token that can be quickly and economically moved from rollup to rollup or claimed on layer 1 for its underlying asset. So effectively what this means is you take one thing, convert it into another thing that is very, 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 very fast and very, very, very cheap to move around, and then flip it back into another asset on the other side. Now, this may sound a little bit familiar, and I guess it's sort of what XRP and Ripple, I went there, were using as their USB for how they were approaching banks. They were saying cross-border transfers, you move assets into Ripple, XRP, sorry, and then move them across borders and then transfer them back. And that moment of just moving the assets over borders was where XRP could be used, and that whole thing was meant to last a fraction of a second, and it was just a bridging asset. Sort of a bit like that. And the second part of this, you use automated market makers to swap between each bridge token and its corresponding canonical tokens on each rollup in order to dynamically price liquidity and incentivize the rebalancing of liquidity across the network. So you need a mechanism for transferring one token into a bridge token, but you also need a liquidity pool and an automated market maker to enable the very rapid transfer of those assets back into the ones you actually want. And all this has to happen under the hood, because if we look at hop.exchange, at no point does it ever tell you that you are buying a bridge token, but that is in fact exactly what you are doing. And these are called HOP ETH or HOP DAI, HETH, HDAI. And these are specialized layer 2 tokens that can be transferred roll up to roll up in batches and act as intermediary assets in the HOP protocol. So they're like kind of supercharged. It's like taking an Uber for your tokens. I don't think that's the right analogy, but you kind of see where I'm going with this. It's like there's a very specialized token that can do a very specialized thing very, very quickly, and you're drafting off that to get the work that you want done. But of course, as we know, liquidity is the big issue here. How do you ensure that a chain like Polygon, where there is a lot of value locked up now, has sufficient liquidity to enable these AMM transfers? That's where there could be a potential bottleneck. So I would highly recommend reading the original launch post. The white paper itself, actually, to be fair, is 11 pages. I remember when we used to read these things and they were, 100 pages long. This is a pretty short one, and it's fascinating. Secondly, the problem I was just talking about, they're looking to solve now with a liquidity mining program on Polygon. So they're incentivizing people to add liquidity to the HUSDC, yes, and USDC pairs, and they'll be rewarded in Matic tokens. And if we look at what the Matic token has done in the last 6 months, it's clear that it's going to be desirable for people, and it's another way to gain that token. Then there was just another couple of things that stood out from this original post. Let me see if I can find them. Just some responses from Chris himself. Here we go. So Relic here says, awesome. Does it support calling withdraw for to send to a different address on Ethereum? And Chris says, it's not enabled in the current UI, but this is 100% possible at the SDK and contract level. Somebody says, Bruce Cobban says, is this live? Chris says, soon. Classic. And there was another one. Oh, here we go. Jorge Alvarado asks, is this going to start with DAI and USDC, or are you going to add more? Yes, it looks like they're going to launch with USDC and expand from there. Stablecoins, ETH are the most in demand right now. That makes sense. But I think if we go and look in the original Medium article, there was a bit more information here. So yes, Polygon, Optimism, XDAI, Arbitrum will be supported, and that makes sense. Those feel like the most adopted and most popular layer 2 rollups. And then where they're headed, I'm not sure how long it's going to take them to get there, but they're talking about enabling cross-chain contract calls and then adding support for non-EVM compatible rollups. So imagine any rollup that exists on any chain, because we might see a bunch of them now, and you will hopefully be able to use Hop to jump between them. This is great. Because if you follow any of my tutorials or any of the work that I'm looking at layer 2s, it's always the bridge that trips me up. It's always the bridge that feels slow. But I think it's becoming more and more apparent that these bridges, while we use them with a UI that's on a website, fundamentally they're going to be built more and more under the hood. So you just operate, you interact with a protocol, you interact with an app, and that bridging work is just done underneath. And if you've used the Polygon implementation of OpenSea, all of that kind of just happens under the hood right now. It's very slow, very clunky, but we will see more and more of that, I think, as this matures. No doubt, though, Hop, fascinating. I want to see more of this kind of stuff happen, and good luck to them. That was First Look. See you on the next one. Peace.